Hey guys, welcome to another beautiful day. And yeah, it's been a long time, and this is a different kind of content that is coming out. This is a complete travel video, I would say. So yeah, it's a complete new content, and as of today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to go across the Riga old city town. I'm currently in Latvia, and we're going to go across the old city town. Not too much in detail about every building or the old city. It's just that a little walk through the old city town, just to experience the vintage side of Europe, and to just get indulged with that kind of Europe. Hey there, if this is the first time you're checking out my video, I'm Pranal Detan. I'm currently in Latvia, exploring the country for its culture and its rich slice of European history. So just to give you a little update on the weather and how the place feels, is that it just rained today morning, and the weather was still up until yesterday it was around 23-24 degrees, and after it rained today it's gone down to around 12 or 13 degrees, which for us Indians it is pretty cold. But then it's going to get even more cold here by the time of the winter time. So yeah, apart from that, the place is a lovely place. Eastern Europe has a lot of history to it, and experiencing the Eastern Europe, you get to experience how Europe was, and because they've preserved most of the historic places, and a lot of things are kept exactly how it was. So Latvia as a place is one of the most beautiful places, and it is one of the UNESCO recognized places. So let's head on to the old city, catching a bus from my accommodation and heading on to the old city. So let's go and explore. So guys, my very first stop is an amazing cup of coffee. Not sure if you can see it, but yeah, an amazing cup of coffee, and ordered some lunch as well. To start off with, I have ordered an English breakfast. I mean, I know, don't hate on me for coming to Latvia, Europe, and having a English breakfast, but that was my comfort food. I thought, on the next video I'm going to try the other Latvian food. So my first stop is this place called Street Fries Kitchen, which the food is amazing. I've tried it before. You guys need to come and try this food here if you guys are heading to Latvia. So what better than having food here in a local European street? It's like a dream come true. So stay tuned. Let me just finish my lunch and a coffee, and then head out, and we're going to roam around and look at the old town of Riga. So guys, we just finished lunch, and it was a pretty good lunch as well, because the Europeans don't have the same size platter as the Indians, and the platter was huge, but then it was amazing. So now we're heading out to the old city, inside the old city. So heading out to the center, there was a church that I saw from far, so just heading out to see which church is that. I've read about Riga and read about the old city town, so now the only thing is that we just need to go there and find out by ourselves what are the different buildings that are there. So as you see, it's getting pretty dark. That is because we're currently walking through the walls, the city walls that was built long back in the 1600s or the 1700s. So we're just walking by that, and as you see, they've kept the architecture as it is, and right behind me is the church that I was talking about. And as you see, the walls also are what they've maintained from back in the day. So it's a pretty good place to look at. So yeah, we're just heading on, walking through the old city, through the city walls. So I'm currently at the city center, and there's a game going, I think, so people are cheering out There's a basketball game that's going on, I guess. So if you see right this side is the very old church that they have right in the middle of the city. So it's a pretty good church, and they've just maintained everything. They've kept it really well with the architecture around, and even the walls for the church, they've kept that as well. So right in the church premises there is an idol of such, which is in metal. So basically that has 4 different animals on it. It has a donkey, a dog, a cat, and a chicken. So that's basically like a challenge that they have for the people, that how high can you touch, so which animal you touch. So it's right here behind me. So those are the 4 different animals lined up together. So I think that's for good luck or something. I'm not really sure about that. So that is just a little about the idol. So guys, I just found out that this church that we are currently next to is the St. Peter's Basilica in Riga. I'm not sure if you can see it, but yeah, that's the architecture and that's the tower. So basically a little about this church is that it was built in the 13th century, and due to a lot of wars that's happening in this part, this church was broken down multiple times and was rebuilt as well because of the wars, the fires and everything. But even after all of that, they have still maintained the beauty and the architecture of this particular building. So it's a pretty good thing to start off with, looking at the St. Peter's Basilica. So let's head on the other side and let's look at the other wonders of this place. So right next to the St. Peter's Church, which is right behind it actually, this is the St. John's Church, which a fun fact about this church is that it is in a very small alleyway also. As I'm walking through, you will be able to see the alleyway. So basically this church used to be a Dominican monastery, and which has been converted into a church. But as you see, I'm headed into the alleyway, and the church is right next to me. So this is how the St. John's Church came into being. It was a Dominican monastery, and then it became the St. John's Church. And as you see, this is another part of the city wall. So we're just heading on inside that through the city wall and just past the church as well. So the entire old city is going to be filled with all these city walls and these very old European architecture. So let's head on to the main center of the city, where we have a few other things that we have to look at. As you see right behind me, the architecture is beautiful. Everywhere that you roam in this part of town, you're going to get lost with the amount of architecture that's present, or whether it's the beauty of the roads and also the way the road is. Every road looks the same here. So it does make you get lost in the city, but it's a kind of good kind of lost, because you're lost in history. You're not just lost in any place as such. You're just lost in the European history, which takes you along through the entire stories that this city has to tell. The tower behind me is one of the tallest towers, and let's look at that in a different video. But this is one of the most famous towers in Europe, and right behind me is the tower, and half of the tower is covered with mist. So that shows the amount of cold that we have here. Apart from that, look at these streets. These streets seem like a dream, because all this while, whenever we dream of an abroad place, we always look at Europe to be one of those dreamy places, and I'm grateful that I'm right here. So guys, we are currently at the center of the old city, and this is the place where a lot of Christmas activities go on during the winter time. And right behind me, if you see, this is where the center is, and a lot of things happen here. A lot of celebrations and everything happen here. But yeah, let's head on back. That'll be a different video. Let's head on back when it is actually snowing, so we get to experience what is beautiful about this city center. And yeah, we're heading on to a different location for now, so stay tuned. And I'm still not sure if you can see in the background far ahead there is the tower, the cell phone tower, that is the tallest structure in Europe, and that's half of the tower is covered with mist. That is how cold it is here. So let's head on to one of the other locations. So basically what I was in, that was the town hall square, and right now I am heading to one of the most beautiful attractions in Latvia, in Riga, which is the Blackhead Museum, or the House of the Blackheads. We're not going to go inside today. That is for a separate video, or maybe later on. You guys tell me if you would like to see the inside of the House of Blackheads. Then I might go inside and then shoot something. So yeah, what I'm currently standing in front of is the House of the Blackheads. So what is the House of the Blackheads? This was basically built for the unmarried merchants that were present in Riga during the 14th century. And this building right behind me, it was destroyed during the World War II. And during 1990 is when they rebuilt it again with the help of UNESCO and a lot of people. So as you see, it still holds the structural components of how it was built in the 14th century. It is really lovely to see all that architecture come into play into this modern era. So if you see at the top of that building, I will put another clip as well after this, where it has the year that it was built and the year that it was rebuilt as well after the World War II. So it is not that far away that the year that it was rebuilt. It was 1990, which is just 30 years back or something. So it's a pretty good thing to see this building here. So guys, now that we spoke about the House of the Blackheads, which is right here, so right next to the House of Blackheads is the Occupation Museum of Latvia, which shows how they have evolved over years and what were their occupation during the times. So it is a pretty good museum. It shows about the USSR taking over Latvia and then Latvia getting free from their hold, which is pretty good to see the entire history there, and having the Blackhead Museum right next to it. So as I've shown you what the Blackhead Museum is and the Occupation Museum, the building right behind me is the main building, like the Parliament building, where a lot of meetings still happen, but then it's allowed for public to come and sit and watch how the public meetings or the Parliament meetings goes. So all of this is in the city center, and this building that you see here is the Riga Technical University. This was one of the first buildings that the college or the university had started with, and now they moved to a different campus, but this was the first building that they started. It's really nice to see that Riga Technical University, one of the big universities in Europe, had started their university right in the center of history, the history of Latvia. So guys, as we walked past the alleyways from the Blackhead Museum, as we walk past, we are greeted by this, which is the Riga Cathedral, and as locals call it, they call it the Dome Cathedral, which I'm not sure why they call it the dome, maybe because of the dome on the tower ahead or something. But two fun facts about this church is that, firstly, this is the largest medieval church in the entire Baltic region. So Baltic region consists of the Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia, and in all those three countries, this is the largest medieval church present until this day. And one more thing is that inside this church they have the pipe organ, and if you're not sure about it, Google it, because a lot of churches have, a lot of vintage churches and a lot of old churches have the pipe organs. But one thing famous about this church is that this pipe organ consists of 6,000 pipes. Yes, you heard me right, 6,000 pipes which are present in this, and every tune that they play in this church, maybe during Christmas time we'll get to explore and hear that sound, but every time they play this, it is heard all across the old city. So it's Really nice to see such a big church, and that too, this is like a medieval period church that they have, which is the biggest in all of the Baltic countries. This is one of the most busiest streets in the city center, which has a lot of pubs, restaurants, and a lot of people cheering because a lot of matches are going on. I think the basketball match is going on, or the football match, not really sure. But yeah, it's a pretty good street, and this is where the fun happens. So guys, as you walk out of Old Town, and you see the Old Town is situated right here, and right opposite to Old Town is the Freedom Monument. So basically this was a monument honoring the soldiers who fought for the Latvian independence, and this was done in 1935 is when this monument was built. So the 3 stars on the monument, it resembles the 3 different Baltic countries, which is Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. So guys, we just took a tour of the old city, and as I showed you some time back, we are here at the Freedom Monument. And as I told you, you know the details, this is to honor the soldiers that have fought for the Latvian independence. And we are currently heading towards the monument, and basically there's one parade that happens in the morning and in the evening to just around the Freedom Monument, where soldiers, I think 4 soldiers take a parade around the monument. But it's a pretty good history to look at, and you know, a pretty good honor that they've done for their soldiers. The park here is also very peaceful. If you're looking for peace, this park gives you a lot of peace. And if you see here, this is the river, and there are some people who are kayaking as well in the river, and there are boat rides as well. So yeah, that's a little about the old city tour and the Freedom Monument as well. So hope you all enjoyed the video. There are more to come on the travel side, so hope you all enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. See you in the next one.